I can tell you that Islam is the religion of conversion by conquest. That is how they believe. You either become Muslim or you die. That's how they believe, and that's how they enforce their will. They are in a minority in the United States, and they appear to be patriotic, law-abiding, peaceful individuals. In most countries, my understanding is, once they become the majority and in fact run the government, it's a whole different situation. The E-bomb. Anybody ever hear of an E-bomb? Okay, one. These are popular mechanics of popular electronics. They published a story about how you can build these things for about $300. An explosive charge goes off, and the way these things are built, they send out a very strong electromagnetic pulse, and it will destroy modern electronic circuitry in radios, car ignitions. Anything with diodes and capacitors in it will be knocked out unless this is in what's called a Faraday box, which could be an ammo can wrapped in 3 layers of aluminum foil, perhaps. Something to keep that EMP away from your electronic equipment. As you might guess, I take all this pretty seriously. I'm known to be a serious guy. I've gone to the extent, and very few people will do this. In fact, I don't know anybody who's done it. I've taken my vehicle. I've got outside the door here a 1988 full-size Dodge 3/4-ton van. And I instructed my mechanic to disable, bypass, eliminate every diode, capacitor, and transistor and electronic brain in it. And he did. There's nothing on that van that couldn't have been on there in 1970. Nothing. So while you people are sitting on the side of the road with your dead vehicles, I'll wave as I go by. No, seriously. EMP is a serious thing. Nuclear weapons will put out an electromagnetic pulse that will knock out electronics. These E-bombs, which apparently you can build them for about $300. And if you got millions of dollars in resources, why not? I mean, what better way to cripple America than to knock out electronics? I used to recommend 38s for women, but I no longer do that unless they've got quite a bit of experience. 9mm semi-automatics have become very popular the last 10, 15 years. Don't bother. Unless you can get to the point, and I can do this, where you can take one apart and put it back together behind your back or underneath a towel in front of you where you can't see it. Unless you can get that good at putting one together and taking it apart, don't bother. And you won't get that good because you won't want to take the time away from your family. Just get a simple revolver, 22 or 32. You can defend your life with that. That's all you need. Don't try to substitute technology for training. You're far better off getting a few more boxes of ammo and getting out to the range and getting competent with iron sights. And like I tell people, well, guys want to get these glow-in-the-dark night sights that fit on the pistol. That's a real popular thing, too. I've been in combat, and I've shot at people. And I'll tell you, you won't remember seeing those sights. You won't remember seeing those sights at all when it's over. That's the last thing you'll be thinking about. You're not going to be able to go on the radio and call in an airstrike. 223 has limited range. 300 yards, you're really stretching it. Really are. Now, if all you're doing is defending your home against the Crips and the Bloods, it's probably going to be okay. Media people come from Nebraska because they have, quote, the Nebraska accent, which is no accent at all. Johnny Carson. The Russian Spetsnaz speak English with the Nebraska accent. Now, how do you get a native Slavic-speaking person to speak English with a Nebraska accent? I've asked this question. I know the answer. The answer is you start when they're 5 years old. Now think about that, ladies and gentlemen. You've got a kindergarten out here of 500 5-year-olds. And you want to pick Spetsnaz soldiers for 15 years in the future. You go through a testing and diagnostic procedure to figure out who's the smartest and who's the most athletic and who has the predisposition to be a soldier who will jump out of an airplane in the middle of the night and kill people. And you start training them English when they're 5 years old. Is that planning ahead? That's what we've got. I mean, guess what? They all have American camouflage uniforms, every one of them. And they train with them. And when they found out my friend is an American police officer, they got very interested in getting their hands on American police shoulder patches. Red Dawn is not just the name of a film. It is also the official Pentagon war scenario named Red Dawn. Living a nightmare right now. Who would have thought that I'd be up here talking about the United States being at war in 2001? But we are, ladies and gentlemen, we are at war right now. What I tell them is, I don't need to go to the war. The war is going to come to me. And my family comes first. And the war is coming to us. It's here. We have biological warfare going on in the United States right now. We're up against enemies without precedents. Without precedents. Our country, our liberty, our very lives are certainly in clear and present danger.